Hey guys, welcome to Super Mario World. It is Throwback Thursday. We are going to do this in 3 videos, since this is a big game and it is way too much for just 2 videos. We are playing on the version of the game that is Super Mario Bros. All-Stars plus Super Mario World. So basically you had Super Mario Bros. 1, 2, and 3, and then you also had Super Mario World. It is my preferred version of the game because you have skinny Luigi in here. You know, originally Luigi was just a palette swap with Mario, and he was just basically the same pixel except he had green underneath his overalls. This actually makes him look more like the Luigi we've come to know since. So it is my preferred version among the 3 different ones. You have this one, you have the regular Mario World, and you have the one on the Game Boy Advance, which is also pretty decent, but I'll get into that later on. So we're going to play 2 players so you can actually see Luigi in motion. I was going to play Silent Hill 3, but I once again underestimated how much time I had available, so we are going to play this instead. Especially since it is Throwback Thursday. Welcome, this is Dinosaur Land. In this strange land we find that Princess Toadstool is missing again. Looks like Bowser is at it again. Back when she was called Princess Toadstool. Not Princess Peach. I guess Peach is her first name. Dinosaur Land. So this is actually one of my favorite areas pretty much in all the Mario games. You know, there have been a ton of new games since, but I don't think of all the areas, even in the 3D ones, I don't think I've loved any particular area as much as this one and in Super Mario World. I think the closest one would be probably either the areas in Super Mario Land 2, which are a whole other thing, or the Eastern Kingdom, where Daisy's at in the first Mario Land. Those are pretty cool. But I think this is still my favorite area in all the Mario games. You know, there have been some cool stages in the 3D ones, but I don't think any of them have approached this particular design for this area. So you can either go to this stage right here, or you can go to this stage over here. I like to go to this one first. But first we're gonna go over to Yoshi's house. Back when Yoshi, all he had was a tree and a mailbox. Hello, sorry I'm not home, but I have gone to rescue my friends who were captured by Bowser, Yoshi, and he signed it with a paw. Obviously that did not go too well for Yoshi. This was back before Yoshi could really kick butt on his own. He really needed Mario's help here. Yep, so all he had was a tree, a mailbox, and a fireplace there. I guess this is where they live. It's called Yoshi's Island. Even though they've obviously expanded the territory since. So I like to go to this stage first so we can activate the yellow switch for the boxes, because you definitely need those. It is rough to play some of those stages without the yellow boxes. So this is still my favorite Mario... Oh, come on, we already lost? It's funny, I ran this game 2 times before, just a few minutes ago, because I had an error with the controller. And that stage went perfectly. I finally get the controller thing sorted out and then I lose on the first stage. Come on, really? Alright, so I guess we're going Luigi then. We got double the lives though. The stuff that happens when you're recording, right? So as I was saying, I think this is still my favorite Mario game of all time. As good as the 3D ones have been, I don't think any of them have ever really matched this game. You know, it's basically this and Super Mario Bros. 3. Those are my 2 favorites. I don't think, as good as the 3D ones have been, they've had some pretty good 3D games. I don't think they've ever really matched the 2D ones. You know, it's this and Mario Bros. 3. I think those are the 2 best Mario games that are my favorite. I mean, this one is pretty much ranked all the way in my top list of games ever, in the top 5. You know, you've got Metal Gear Solid 3 up there, you got Silent Hill 3 or 2 depending on the time up there. but I don't think this will ever be displaced from its top position. You know, maybe it's not the top game of all time, but it's definitely one of the top 5 for me. So you can see here, Luigi still doesn't have his jump that he had in Mario Bros. 2. Because like I said, the original version of Luigi here was just a palette swap of Mario, so he pretty much looked exactly the same. Here you can see he actually looks skinnier, like his regular Luigi persona that we know nowadays. This is also a very relaxing game too. One thing is, this game is basically almost a perfect game, in my opinion, you know. We give games ratings of 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10. Occasionally we give them a 10 out of 10. But we still say there are little flaws here and there. Little things that they can improve upon. I think this is as close to a perfect game as you can possibly get. The only 2 real flaws are, 1, you could have held more items. I wish you could hold more items. And 2, they could have done with another place to get Yoshi and some capes. Because you have the top secret area where you can get Yoshi and the capes, but there's also an area later on in Forest of Illusion where they just left it completely blank, and they could have easily put an area there to get some bonuses, easily. But other than that, this game really has no flaws. It's flawless. So that's definitely one major reason why it always stays in my list of top 10 games of all time. Because the game almost literally has no flaws. Like, those are the only tiny 2 things I can gripe about in the entire game. Which is amazing, because you don't often get games like that are just completely perfect the first time around. Especially nowadays where everything has to be patched and stuff added to it and stuff fixed after it's been released. You don't really get a lot of complete games anymore. Like even Spider-Man 2, which I've been playing the past couple days. As good as that is, they still kind of rushed it to release it, so there's still lots of bugs that have to be fixed. There's still lots of things that have to be patched in, even though at least I have the complete game on disc, which is something most other game companies do not. But Alan Wake isn't even bothering with the disc, and they're giving like 8 different excuses, all of them which are flimsy as hell. They're not even trying to really justify not having a disc. They just don't want to do it because Epic Games told them not to. But yeah, even Spider-Man still needed some work. So games don't really get released complete nowadays. But this is not only complete, but this is pretty much a perfect game as is. You know, there's very little that you could fix here to say, oh, this would definitely be improvement. Oh, god damn. We messed that up. Oh, we still got the lives. Cool. Let's get Yoshi. Hooray! Thank you for rescuing me. My name is Yoshi. On my way to rescue my friends, Bowser trapped me in that egg. One thing someone pointed out, is he hitting Yoshi to get the tongue out, or is he just tapping him? Because that would be cruel if he's actually hitting him in the back of the head. That would be kind of cruel of Mario and Luigi. Yeah, I've been playing Mario Wonder the past couple days, or past few days, and as good as it is, because it's pretty decent, it still doesn't match the 2D Mario games, I think. There's just such a wide diversity of enemies here too. Like, there's a lot of enemies here that you never see them again in any other Mario game, or if you do, it's only sparingly, like the moles. The moles are some of my favorite enemies, but you rarely see them outside of this game, ever. The 2D Mario games are still something else, especially if this was when Sega was trying to compete with them, and so they were giving the image of Mario being the old man, being slow, compared to Sonic, who was modern and fast and hip. But I still preferred Mario, especially once I actually got to play the Sonic games much later on. I didn't even play them on the original Super NES, I played them much later on as part of the collection on PS2. So I would see them played on TV shows and stuff and reviews, but I never actually played them myself, and even then, I kind of prefer Mario. Mario's just much more relaxing to play, it's easier to play, You don't have to worry about all those rings with like Sonic, like where you lose all the rings. I like the fact that it has a much more mellow vibe to it, you know. Sonic is fast and that's fun, true, that is fun, but at the same time, like I really don't like some of the mechanics in those early Sonic games, you know. The fact that you only have a limited number of lives, it's actually very small, so if you get to the one of the bosses or the final boss, you can just lose everything, then you have to start all over again. Whereas here you can easily accumulate lots and lots of lives, so even with Sonic being faster and supposedly more cool than Mario, I still prefer Mario. Which is funny because I actually wanted a Sega Genesis when I was young and I didn't get one. But now I realize I actually wouldn't have been as happy with it as I was with the Super NES. Super NES had some fat bangers for games, as they say. You know, a lot of fat bangers. This, but also starting with Donkey Kong. Yeah, Mega Man. Got Metroid, which I still gotta go back and complete one day. I never actually finished the original Super Metroid. I just never gone back to it for some reason. I know it's a good game. I think I just got lost in one of the worlds. And so I didn't really know how to complete it. That was way back before every site on the internet had a strategy guide for it. I think we missed this situation there. I don't know where it is. I think we missed a tunnel we could go down. Yeah, this game is way too big to just cover in 2 videos, and I also don't want to have like one 4-hour long video of just playing Mario World and then another 4-hour video just playing Mario World. I kind of want to break them up in different parts. Give me something to do every Thursday. Even after all these years, I still don't think I know where all of those large gold coins are. I know where the majority of them are, but I'm sure there's 1 or 2 that I always miss. Damn, we missed the stars. So let me give you a little bit of background on how I first came across this game. This was actually the first Super NES game I ever played, ever. And it was back when we lived in Puerto Rico. I did not have a video game console, but my cousin at the time who we were living with my grandmother, and one of my cousins would stop in to visit from time to time. She had the system. I don't know who bought it for her, whether it was her mom, because she was way older than me. I don't know whether it's her mom or if she bought it with money from her job or whatever, but she would have this, and they always referred to Yoshi as a green horse, not a dinosaur. No idea why, because he's obviously a dinosaur, but they always called him a horse. Or horsey, whatever, in Spanish. But I really liked it, and it was really my first introduction to video games, period, besides the Game Boy. That's the other thing they had, a Game Boy. So, I don't remember which I got first, whether it was the Game Boy. Oh yeah, I believe it was the Game Boy. Yeah, it was the Game Boy that we got first, because I remember now. I remember buying Super Wario Land 3, or someone buying me Super Wario Land, which at the time was called Super Mario Land 3, but it was the first Wario Land. I remember buying it. And we were in Puerto Rico at a place called Plaza del Caribe, which I think that place is still open. I believe so. I believe it should still be open. Although, knowing how malls have fared over here, I wouldn't be surprised if it's on its last legs or if it is in fact closed. I'm not sure. But I think it's still there. I think I've heard from my uncle and I think it's still there. Let's wait for it to go up a bit. I believe we also bought some Game Boy games at a store called Babbage's. And also, I believe we may have bought Kirby's Dream Land, the very first one, at, believe it or not, a Walgreens. That was back when Walgreens actually sold video games. Can you imagine that? Walking into a Walgreens and actually having a wall of video games. That was how it was back then. It it was an awesome time, and I think we didn't really know how awesome it was until things went to crap in the past 20 years. Now we're realizing how lucky we had, and oh boy, how much better the world was back then. And I won't name who's primarily responsible for turning it to crap, but it's a combination of different folks and different elements. Just the whole world has basically fallen to garbage in the past 20 years or so. But anyway, we did not know how good we had it back then. You could buy video games almost everywhere. I remember over here in Philadelphia in the gallery, once we moved back over here, there was a store that was it wasn't even primarily a toy store or electronics store, and you could still buy like Kinects and building toys and stuff like that. And I think it was just a regular old discount store, but they had tons of toys. I know some discount stores have toys now, but it wasn't back like it was back then. Can you imagine though? Can you imagine walking into your Walgreens and buying, I don't know, Spider-Man 2? That's exactly how it was back then. You could literally walk into a Walgreens and buy Kirby's Dream Land for the Game Boy. That I don't think I appreciated how awesome that was at the time. So Bowser has some huge castles, because look at that. Look at how huge this fortress is. That always boggled me. This is Iggy, right? So poor Iggy, you just hit him once and push him off of a fireball. He's just no match for Mario. So yeah, my first console ever was actually a Game Boy. The old, you know, green color, gray Game Boy. That was the very first time I ever had a video game console of my own to play games on. Mario has defeated the demented Iggy Koopa in Castle Number 1 and rescued Yoshi's friend who is still trapped in an egg. Together they now travel to Donut Land. Alright, come on Luigi, let's take your Yoshi over here. Oh, this is one of the best stages in the whole game. Donut Plains 1. So many different exits and stuff. So I mainly do prefer the cape. I do prefer the cape mainly because you can do a lot more things with it. But the fireball is also pretty useful. The fireball is a classic, but I really like this cape. And I don't believe they've ever brought it back, right? I think there's something similar to it in Mario 64 with the hat. And I believe there might be a cape of some sort in one of the recent 3D Mario games. I don't think it's this one. I don't think they've ever brought back the Super Mario cape, except in the Mario movie when they did it for the commercial. That was pretty cool. I mean, cool. It was good and cool that they did that. That was a nice touch, doing that commercial. But yeah, in terms of gameplay, I don't believe they've ever brought this cape back, right? Which sucks because it's pretty much one of my favorite items ever besides the raccoon tail over in Mario Bros. 3. It's this and the cape. I like that it has different effects depending on whether you have Yoshi equipped or not. If you don't have Yoshi, you can zoom on, just zoom across the skies, but if you do have Yoshi, he just gives you a boost. So you gotta decide when and where to use it. Oh, there's something back over there. And I believe if you use the cape over in the first stage we played, there's actually a little moon there that gives you 3 different lives. Something to remember. But one thing I'll say about the cape is you do not want to use it during the bonus game because you will get no lives. Or you might get like 1 or 2 frequently. It's very difficult to use it during the bonus game. Not this one, but the one at the end of the stage once you get 100 stars. Just something about these 2D Mario games that just hits differently, you know? So sorry Yoshi, but this is where we part ways because we gotta go up this here, and we cannot bring you along. Okay, let's read the message first. There we go. Yeah, look at that. It took me way long to master this over many different times of playing the game. And I still don't have it quite down. But it's another reason why I like the cape. You can do this. I think there's something in Mario Wonder now, right? It's kind of similar with the hat, but you can't really fly or glide. It's more like to hang in the air. That's what its main purpose is. Something about these old Mario games, they just hit differently than the modern ones, you know? I always wish they would remake this particular game in 3D, you know, not a game inspired by it, like 3D, like Super Mario 3D World, the one on Switch and Wii U, I suppose. Not inspired by this game. I mean, actually remake these stages in 3D to see what they will look like. I always wanted them to do that, but they never did. It's kind of like one of the main flaws of Nintendo that, yeah, they make good games and they're always looking forward, but at the same time, sometimes they don't want to look back. And so what ends up happening is they kind of forget about some of the games that made them who they were. You know, they don't make them available, or else they don't use them to their full potential or stuff like that. Should we get the key first, or should we get the key, or go across the regular exit? Which should we do? Let's go over the regular exit first. So we can get the bonus game. So if you hit 50 stars, I believe you get an extra life. Yeah, this, Donkey Kong Country 1, Donkey Kong Country 2, and Mega Man X are some all-time classic games. Some of the best ever made. You know, I'm not one to get into the whole who's a real gamer, who isn't type of argument. That usually always ends in frustration and BS for everyone involved. But I think if you are any type of video game player and you do not have this game or Donkey Kong 1 or 2 on your list of, say, top, I don't know, 20 or 30 games of all time, I'd say you're probably not a real gamer. Because I mean, like, these games are almost flawless, and they are classic video games regardless of which console you always preferred when you were young. So yeah, like, I'll give you leeway for the top 10, even the top 15, but if you have like a top 20 list and you do not have these, I think there is something seriously wrong with that list. Because how can you leave off these classic games? Again, I don't want to get into the whole argument of who's a real gamer and who isn't, but these games are called classics for a reason. And oftentimes they were designed with much more love and care than many of the modern games now. Even old ones like the PS2, like, as great as that era was, I was just watching a playthrough of Silent Hill 4 just yesterday, and you can really tell that halfway into the development of that game, Team Silent kind of just came up and went, oh well, you know what, let's just do whatever. Just get it out and pump it out and finish it. But some of the designs are lazy, some of the mechanics are lazy, and this is from one of the teams that really cared about their reputation and their games. You know, like, they weren't slouches. They were great designers, but you can tell, like, halfway into the production of that, they just either gave up or decided to just half-ass it, and that's why that game has so many issues. Or has so much trouble with certain things and so many problems that turn people off because they just did not give it their full effort. So it is very rare for developers nowadays, unless you count like indie developers, to really approach games with the type of love and care and craftsmanship that these games were built on. This, Donkey Kong Country 2, Mega Man X, the original, even Donkey Kong Country, like, I believe Shigeru Miyamoto didn't like that game at all the first time. He thought it was whatever. I guess he's come around to it since he uses Donkey Kong a lot now in his projects, but he didn't like it originally. But even that, it's just an incredible game. Very memorable. Memorable score, memorable stages, Donkey Kong just playing rocks. how he goes from being just a guy harassing Mario and his girlfriends to an actual hero. So, and he has a great sidekick too, Diddy Kong. So, yeah, that game is awesome. And you can tell the team at Rare really were giving it a whirl when they made that game. Which doesn't really happen that frequently anymore with video game development teams. It's like, oh, we'll fix it later, we'll patch it later, we'll patch it in a year, or a month or two, or we'll do a day one patch. Like, not... There's a level of craftsmanship in these early games, and most of the era of the early 2000s and late 1990s that I don't think is approached today by most video game development companies. I think a lot of people like to half-ass it and be lazy. And I know there's issues with crunch and whatever, but it is a shame that most of the modern new developers don't really care as much about their games as the teams behind these old games did. These games are complete, they didn't require any more fixing afterwards. They would release versions a couple times that had something different, you know, like they released the first Super Mario Bros. All-Star, or Super Mario All-Stars, whatever, and oh, look at this. This is a useful mechanic, but at the same time it becomes annoying in a certain later level that we're gonna play in a zone called the Special Zone. That's where this really tends to drive you up the wall and make you want to rip your hair out once we get to that stage, but that'll come later. But yeah, what I was saying about developers is just a lot of them just don't care as much. Like, many of them do care, but not nearly to the extent that they should, which is kind of the issue, you know. You care a little bit, but not much. Not enough to make sure the game is complete and fixed since day one. Like, there's always going to be things that slip by. You know, there's stuff you can do here that probably snuck by them. Like, the way you can get the power switches stuck inside the walls here. Like, if Yoshi eats one and he spits it out here, it is gonna get stuck in the wall. So stuff like that does slip. It did slip past them, but even so, this is very tight, very well-crafted game. And like I said, the type you don't really get anymore in many places. Even indie developers, like, people love to idolize indie developers because supposedly they've got more creative juice than, you know, mainstream developers and whatnot. But even indie developers, like indie filmmakers, will sometimes just make a mess and then try to excuse it with all sorts of rationale and whatever. So, like, they're not perfect either. Sometimes they will screw up badly and then not fix it, just like some indie filmmakers do. So let's get that key. I like the sound effects in this game too. Yoshi eating the key is classic, especially when he spits it out. Have we ever seen those invisible keyholes in other Mario games, like the 3D ones, or were they just confined to this game? Also, even something like Yoshi's Island, which I don't particularly care for, even that, you can tell it was crafted well with love and care and serious respect for the game design. It wasn't a throwaway game like a lot of stuff is nowadays. Because even Nintendo has gotten a bit lazy and rehashed a lot of their Mario stuff. You know, Mario Wonder is cool, but it's pretty much just a rehash of New Super Mario Bros. Wii with the trippy LSD stuff added in through the Wonder Seeds. Like, it's a cool concept, but it's not that unique. They mainly saved their innovation from 3D Mario games. Odyssey, Galaxy 2, the ones in space, you know. Super Mario Sunshine, which was unappreciated at the time, and I didn't appreciate it that much either, until I finally replayed it on... Oh shit, come on Yoshi, get the hell out of here. Yeah, until I finally replayed it on the Switch with the collection, and I realized, oh, this is actually a pretty decent game. It's actually pretty cool. I did not appreciate it at the time. That's why you sometimes have to give games a second or third shot, because you never know what might you know, tickle your fancy a few years down the road. You know, your taste can grow, they can mature, and before you know, you actually like some games again. Like with Mario Sunshine, I didn't like it originally because I had issues with the GameCube controller, how rough it was. The fact that you couldn't really control your walking speed like you could on the PS2 controller, stuff like that. There was no rumble. So I had my issues with it, and I think because of that, I didn't fully appreciate Mario Sunshine at the time. I didn't fully appreciate a Resident Evil remake at the time. It took me going back and playing it on the PS3 to realize how awesome it was. Like, I understood. I obviously played it on the GameCube, and I understood that it was a good Resident Evil game, but I didn't really understand how great it was until I replayed them on the PS3, and then that's when I realized, oh, this is peak Resident Evil. Like, this is no joke. This is what Resident Evil should be. If you're trying to go for this more slow-paced horror, this is what it should be. The top example. And one of the best survival horror games ever. So even with that, I didn't fully appreciate it the first time around. But I definitely didn't appreciate Mario Sunshine. I do now. I still gotta go back and finish it, because it is kind of a long game, but I definitely appreciate it much better now. Much better than I did before, when I was much younger. What do we do first? Let's kill the ghost. Let's kill him. This is not King Boo, this is just a regular giant-sized Boo. I don't think King Boo was introduced until, what, like the Nintendo 64 Mario? I was blown away when I first realized this was actually a thing, that he was a secret boss here. So I had no idea the first couple times I played this game. I think even the first like 3 or 4 times I played this game, I didn't realize he was here. Yeah, there are some hidden stages here that you do not find easily. That little stage at the intro. Oh, look at that, the block is still flashing. Look away if you get seizures, look away from that. Yeah, but that little stage that plays at the end, that always bugged me because I could never figure out how to reach it. I could never reach it no matter what I did, and then I realized, oh, it's the special zone. It's the special zone stage, that's why I can't reach it. Hell yeah, get that young life. We're up to 12. Even though we have to share them between the two. Like, you can give lives to Luigi, Luigi can give lives to Mario. Still getting double the lives. Double the chances to beat the stages if you need them. One tiny little detail that does nag at me is how each progressive switch has fewer and fewer blocks that are distributed into the world. In the animation, like you see here, it's less than the yellow one, even though there's arguably more green blocks than there are yellow ones. It's just kind of weird. I always found it weird how there's a lot more green blocks than yellow, but you see less of them thrown across the world. Same thing with the red and the blue. There's a ton of them in some of those stages, but you still see less of them than the yellow ones. Listen to this mellow music. How can you not get relaxed playing this game? It's like the Donkey Kong Country music too. That is a great soundtrack to listen to if you were looking for something relaxing. Cool, soothing, mellow. It's definitely a great soundtrack. Okay, so we already got the coins. We don't need to go over here. And we already got the key, so we're just gonna go through the regular exit. Yoshi's a bottomless pit here. He can just eat everything, almost. And he never gets full. Where does it all go? Is he like a Flurkin? Like Captain Marvel's cat, where he's basically just like a portal to another dimension? And so everything he eats just goes there? Which, I have no idea how to even begin to explain that creature. That thing is not right. That thing is not right. The fact that it can literally eat tons and tons of stuff and it just all goes to some literal alternate dimension. Like, how would you even begin to describe that type of alien? I like that they had fun with the enemy names tier 2. Like that one's called, I think it's called Rip Van Winkle after the famous character. Alright, so we do not need to complete the whole stage because as you'll see, we're gonna find something soon that lets us just skip most of it. You can if you want to, you can go through the whole stage, but I don't really like the moving stages like this. Especially these ones in the caves where you just get trapped. I don't really like these types of stages. I prefer the regular stages, so I just skip it. We're gonna leave that cape because for the bonus stage you actually do need more like the flower. The flower really helps you get the all 8 lives if you want to, and you time it just right. It's a lot easier to do the bonus game with the cape than it is with the flower because the cape hangs. The flower you can still jump normally. The cape causes you to kind of hang in the air. Oh wait, actually, this isn't the one that you can skip. It's that. Sorry, that's the one you can skip is later on. There's one similar to this one, where you can skip the whole thing because it is one of the hardest stages in the game. Trying to move with without getting pinned by those yellow things and the moving time on the stage. Yeah, basically it's like this, but you can get trapped. You can easily get trapped if you don't move quickly enough. But that comes later. That's near the end of the game, so yeah, I completely Oh yeah, I forgot we could actually skip it. All we have to do is just not do the key. Instead, go across the regular exit. Oh well, I guess we're getting a glimpse of how this stage is. I haven't done this one in years, this way. Yeah, I forgot. You just had to you just totally just had to go across the exit instead of taking the key. But at least we got an extra life for it. At least we got an extra life. It still leads to the same place, so we really only wasted, what, like 1 minute? That's not bad. Yeah, I forgot, all you had to do was just go in the opposite direction of the charging truck and just get the key. Oh well. So just remember, if you don't want to do that whole part of the stage, just go over there. Just go over there and get the key and then go in the opposite direction of where you use it. Just rather don't get the key, just head straight for the pipe. So let's do this so we can skip all these troublesome ghosts, because I had a lot of trouble with this stage when I first played it. I didn't know you can just do that. You have to time it right so that you don't hit any of the ghosts. God damn, we timed it wrong. We definitely timed that wrong. So yeah, let's have Mario give it a shot. Let's have Mario give it a shot. We definitely timed that wrong. Yeah, the trick is you have to make sure you don't get hit by the ghosts. There we go. Now you can skip the whole stage and then get a life over there. Or I believe 4 lives. There's a little area up top you can hang if you want. But it's better to just go straight down and get all the lives. There you go. Easy stage, huh? I like how the ghost house has an obvious exit sign like it's an amusement park attraction. You know, some kind of theme park. I wonder if they charge people to go in there in the Mushroom Kingdom and get the heck spooked out of them, like the toads. Maybe the toads go there and that's why they have an exit sign. Okay, so let's do the regular one instead. It also sucks like Yoshi can't enter the ghost house. Man, the worst ghost area I think I've ever seen in a Mario game was in oh god damn. I was trying to get that coin. I got too greedy. Yeah, the worst The worst one I think I've seen is probably the one in the Wii U game. I believe it's the new Super Mario Bros. Wii U. And it was this stage that I don't know if you remember which one it is, but it is this stage where you're on a timer, but at the same time you basically have to find the correct exit for the stage, and I don't know why. There must be like 12 or 13 different paths, because a lot of the time, unless you do things exactly right, you will just get lost in there and never finish the stage. And I don't think I've gotten past that stage. I think actually that's where I stopped playing, because it was just way too tough, and I tried to look it up on the internet, and for some reason I wasn't finding exactly what I needed, so I think I just left. I think that was when I stopped playing that game. Once I couldn't get past that stage, 'cause I just kept getting lost. So we're gonna ignore that. Let's go over here. Yeah, ignore that. There we go. There you go. Yeah, I have to go back and finish that game someday, but goddamn, that stage is hell. I kind of dislike stages like that where you can just get lost infinitely in a loop. Mario Bros. 3, I believe, had one like that. And I usually skip it. I think it was a fortress, and I usually use one of the clouds to skip it, or the whistle, so I don't have to play it. But for some reason I decided to play it when I was playing the enhanced version of the game on the Switch recently, and goddamn, like I could not find my way out of that without a strategy guide. I had to go and look it up, and then finally I realized what I had to do. So yeah, this is the top secret area where if you don't have a Yoshi, you can always come here and get one. You can always get one here. And of course you can get infinite lives, so as long as you want to keep coming here, you're always going to have lives. You can also build up your score, even though it really does no good, but still, you can build it up. You can build up the score here. Let's go over here to this house, because I want to open up the pipe. I did not mean to do that. So now we lost the flower, we're back to just the cape. Oh, we got it back. There we go. Have they ever answered the question in the game's lore of what the boos are, whether they are the dead people from the Mushroom Kingdom, or are they their own separate species? Because they have a king, but who was the king then? They seem to almost exist as a separate species of their own, rather than being the spirits of the dead people from the Mushroom Kingdom. Because there's almost no humans here, right? So I believe it would probably be the spirit of the toads, right? But all the boos are basically bad, or at least naughty. They may not be fully evil, but they're definitely not good. So, have they ever explained what the boos exactly are? Are they their own species, or are they a mixture of like maybe the dead residents and their own species? Or is it like the, the creatures in the Spectral Realm in Soul Reaver. Like Slua they call them, where they're made of energy, but they exist only as Spectral Realm. Like, are they a completely different species? Or like how the vampire spirits get turned into wraiths. Like, is that what's going on there? I do want to get started on doing the special zone because I like being able to get to a special zone and do it early. Because one thing here is with this game, you can change the theme of the stages. I'm sure everyone knows about the fall and regular themes. You can change it, but the problem is you do have to finish all the 8 special zone stages. That's actually why I like the that's actually why I don't like the Game Boy Advance version, the way they did that the special zone there. Because they did some cool things, but then the problem was even though they did some cool things, now you can only change the theme for the map only at the end of the game. So basically, there's no point in even going back and replaying the stages at that point in time. You know, you already finished the game. But you can only change it. They switched it because here, once you finish the special zone, it changes to the fall theme and you never change it back. It just stays like that. In the Game Boy Advance version, you can change it yourself, but only after you finish the game once. So beating the special zone stages does nothing there. It's just for fun. But of course, if you've already finished the game, why are you gonna go back and play every single stage? You've already beaten the fortresses and the bosses and done everything. So you're really gonna run it again just to see the fall. So I like doing these early here because it lets me switch the theme and actually prefer the fall theme compared to the spring one, because you get stuff like the pumpkin plants, which I prefer to the piranha plants. I definitely prefer the pumpkin plants. The missiles change to like birds, which is kind of interesting. You get, instead of bullet bills, you get pidget bills. But the biggest bonus that you get is a lot of blue mask Koopas, which you can use to let Yoshi fly. That's a huge help in a lot of the stages. So that's definitely one reason why I prefer that, because otherwise you gotta rely on blue shells. But there aren't that many across the stages. On the other hand, you'll get a lot more blue mask than you will blue shells. Damn, we lost Yoshi. He just plummeted into the abyss. So long, Yoshi. And if you take the star, some of them will lead you to other areas in the game, so you'll get to play some of the later stages early. I'm sure that's useful for speedrunners. They can probably skip a lot of time with that. If you're going for a world record, you can just skip a lot of time with that. Just bypassing whole worlds, basically, like the Vanilla Dome. You don't even have to do that, I think. If you pick the right one, you can just bypass the whole thing. Very useful for speedrunning, I assume. But I'm no good at speedrunning because outside of Resident Evil, like, I want to get everything in the game. And that's kind of the issue I'm having now with Separate Ways and Resident Evil 4 Remake. I want to get all the treasures. I want to sell them as much as I can so I can get as much money as I can. But the problem is that costs you time. So the longer you take, the lower your ranking is. So right now I'm probably not going to even get an A ranking. I'm probably going to get like a B or a C. Even though I was going for an A because I just don't have enough time. We need the mask, the cape for this one. And by pressing the right button on the shoulder of the controller, you can do that. You can scroll forward too. Yeah, I don't think we were gonna get 50 there. I just went for the regular 24 stars. There's not enough height for him to get up to the 50. Now let's switch this, because like I said, it's a lot easier if you use the flower or mushroom instead of the cape. See if we can time it right. Damn, we screwed it up. We screwed it up. It takes some really quick timing to get it. I've gotten it a few times before. Gotten all the 8 lives, so... Where are we heading now? Let's see. See what this one is. Oh, it's this crap. Yoshi can even eat the blocks. And the coins. He'll eat everything. Here we go. Let's get rid of this guy quickly. There we go. Got him. Let's get to the cloud. And when I first played the game, I did not know that was how you had to get the key. You had to knock him out of his cloud. I thought you could just kill him. I didn't realize you could ride the cloud yourself. There's a lot of stuff I didn't know when I first played this as a kid. Lots of secrets to discover. I didn't even do like all 96 exits until a few years ago. I just never bothered doing them all. Because there's one stage that has like 6 exits. So even though we did that stage already, you gotta do it twice so it counts as an exit. And you can get all 96 and get the star added next to your save file. So it can show the world that you did all 96. Get some coins. Damn, we were 1 short. We needed 1 more for a life. If we got, what was it, like 5 of them we get a life, or is it 6? Alright, let's head to the next one. Oh, I believe you cannot do this one with the without doing the block, so I think this might be as far as we go. I guess I'll just do the regular exit. Oh, we can do this one. Let's see if this will last us. Let's see how long we can get. Yeah, the blue let Yoshi fly, but they're a lot rarer. You get a lot more of the blue mask with the Koopas. Once you get the fall theme, there's a lot more of them than there are blue shells. Hey, we made it! Cool, we actually made it. You see there, the red squares are not complete because we haven't unlocked the red switch yet. Alright, now we get the regular exit. I think the next one is actually one where it's actually better to do it without getting all the blocks, because the blocks actually get in your way once you do it. You kind of hit a ceiling, a literal ceiling, and you can't pass. It's actually better to do it before you get all the blocks. Damn, we missed it completely. I wanted to go for like 40. There's also a golf tournament on today, but it's a European one. Ugh. I don't like the European ones as much because they're completely unpredictable. You know, anybody can win there. You can have a guy who's 12 to 1 win, or you can have a guy who's 500 to 1 win, and there's no way to predict it. You can't tell who or what will happen. So for that reason, I don't really like the European tournaments that much, because it's just way too unpredictable. And since my main interest in golf is usually betting in addition to watching it, I don't really like that aspect because you can't predict the European tournaments. It's just completely unpredictable situation, you know. Even the leaders aren't safe on Sunday. Like you could have some guy who's 500 to 1 come back from behind, make up 8 or 9 shots on the field and win, and just completely beat out all the leaders at the top. That happens a lot more frequently than they would probably like on the European tour, which is probably why it's not a very popular betting situation. Because bettors like what they can control, and you can't control that. There's just no way. Like you can't predict that at all. Alright, let's go get that key. There you go. Yeah, you have to time it right so that you don't hit the block, but it's a lot easier to do this here, because if you see there the blue outlines for the blue power blocks. If you don't do this stage before you close those blocks, what ends up happening is a lot of the time you're gonna have to find some way to get up here and run on the blocks, which is actually a lot more difficult than it seems. It is actually easier just to do this stage like this than it is to actually try to go and run on top of the blocks. Because Yoshi won't fit there. I believe you can only put a small Mario or Luigi on there. You can't even use the what do you call it, the mushroom, because I think you just get stuck before the opening. So there's no way to proceed. It's a lot easier to just do it before you activate the blue switch over in Forest of Illusion. And those eggs will give you different colored Yoshis. If you notice, like a blue one will give you a blue, yellow one will give you yellow. You can get a red one, but you have to feed them 5 enemies or blocks in order to grow them so they can actually be useful. Which brings up an interesting question. Are those blocks basically edible? The blue ones that you can knock away, are they basically edible blocks? Because Yoshi can digest them, so I guess they're made of something edible. Who would have thought? Damn, still no 40. Got 30. Yeah, I've got a few guys on the European one. The second wave has actually started about half an hour ago, but it's going to take a long time for them to go out, so we'll see who else we add. I've got a few. There's no other golf tournament this week besides like a ladies one, but there's nothing in the US. There's no seniors. Nothing really to wager on besides this. There's a special song, but we will come back to that later. We're not going to do it now. I'm just going to finish off Donut Land, and then we'll call it a night, because we got some good progress done. We got almost everything there. Oh, we got this stage. We should do this first. This is the ice stage, Donut Secret. So as you can see, Yoshi will slip. So he does not have slip-resistant boots on. He just has plain old regular shoes. So be careful with how you jump here. What are your all-time favorite platformers of all time? Doesn't matter the system. Doesn't matter when they came out. What are your favorite platforming games ever? For me, it's obviously this one. Obviously, Super Mario Land 2 is also included. Super Mario Bros. 3, we already covered. That one's a great one, for sure. I don't know if I'd count the Galaxy ones. I do not know if I could count the Galaxy ones as some of my favorite, even though 2 is pretty great. 1 is obviously great too, but I prefer 2 because it has Yoshi in it. So if you do not want to go up this pipe, because if you go up this pipe, you will get hit by one of those power balloons that just inflates Mario, and you have to do the whole stage like that, and you have to leave Yoshi behind, and it is a pain to navigate that area. So it's better to just continue along the normal route than take that extra path with the power balloon, because that section is kind of difficult. There's only 2 real stages where you use the power balloon for a significant length of time. Actually 3 of them, and all 3 are pretty annoying. You have this one here with that section, you have another one in the special zone, and then you have a 3rd one in the special zone. And all 3 of them are annoying. So that is not one of my favorite aspects of the game. So you can see once Mario exits out, he'll come out on the other he'll come out on the pipe on the other side, close to the boss area. We still gotta do this one. I believe there's also one more stage before the boss area. See, now we get the green switches, so we can get plenty of capes. We can go up here, skip a large portion of that section right there. These are some cool stages, the one with the switches. But you have to be careful to activate them at the right time. There should also be a bonus area up top here. Here it is. That yellow pipe sometimes, but not usually, denotes not always, it denotes a bonus area like this one. So it's always worth it to try if you see one in a suspicious spot. So there's an extra life, but we don't need it to jump over here. One thing I really like about this game is the amount of stages they have. Like, there's 96 exits, some of them are shared, but you know, the stages all have a different feel to them. Like, no stage really feels exactly like the other. They're all completely different stages. I like the fact that it makes them unique. You know, each level has its own feel. They don't really repeat a lot of stuff. The only ones that really repeat a lot are basically the fortresses, which are kind of like mini bosses. They have the Reznor Triceratops. This one just stomps, so if you stomp near something on the ground, you can kind of kill in one hit. These guys are annoying sometimes, the Hammer Brothers, but not nearly as annoying as the Hammer Koopas were in the in Super Mario Bros. 3. Those guys could get annoying sometimes. Especially when there were a lot of them and you needed to pass. Not all of those pipes that shoot out like this have secret areas. Some just shoot you out of a long distance. And there's some stages here with elements to them that you only see at that one particular stage. Like the main one will probably be Soda Lake, which has Torpedo Ted, an enemy that you do not see anywhere else. So there was a lot of creativity going on with this game. You know, they really definitely thought things through and came up with a lot of different enemy designs and variations for stuff. They were not mailing it at any point in the game. Look at that. Got all those lives. Yeah, there was definitely a lot of thought put into all the stages and all the enemies. They weren't just repeating stuff from the earlier Mario Bros. Games, especially 3, which only came out like a couple years before this. They were not repeating stuff. They wanted you to experience a brand new adventure on the Super Nintendo. That's pretty much what they did. This game sold like crazy, and I believe it was included with the original Super NES. I believe you could get a bundle with this, and this was the game that came with it. So imagine how awesome that was as a child to get a Super Nintendo, just spend hours and hours playing this game, and you might never find all the secrets unless you really looked. Damn, we're gonna get 4, but we missed the flower, we got the star instead. At least it's still 4. Alright, let's do the boss for this area. We got Morton, like the salt. And just like in Mario Bros. 3, you cannot harm these guys, so there's no point in even trying. This one also hasn't repeated in other Mario games, right? The ball and chain. We've seen one similar to it, but I don't believe we've seen the exact ball and chain in any other Mario game. I like that the cape can kill the dry bones easily. Like I said, the first couple times I played it, I don't believe I used the cape on the dry bones. I think I had to experiment with it, and I figured out like on the 3rd try that you can kill them with using the cape. I just avoid them. Because I believe that the tail doesn't kill them in Mario Bros. 3, all it does is just knock them down. They're kind of stunned for a few seconds and then they get back up, so I just assumed the cape would not work on them, but it does. These are some huge ass castles that Bowser has. God damn, look at how huge these fortresses are. They're insanely huge. You wanna be careful though while you're trying to get those coins, not to get stuck between the exit and the 2 blocks, or you'll get squished here. Damn, Luigi has a lot of lives. He's got 42. He's doing pretty well. This game is a lot of fun to play with another player. That's how I usually played it all these years with someone else. I rarely played it by myself. And I kind of missed that 2-player modes where you're competing against the other person, but your progress still counts. Because Donkey Kong, I believe with Donkey Kong Country, the other games of Super NES, you have to either work as a team, or each person has their own progress and it doesn't translate over. I gotta go back and play that one. I like that in the Mario. I like that in the Mario games. One person can do a lot of stages, and if the other person fails, like they're not starting from scratch. You know, the progress stays. Compared to Donkey Kong, where each player pretty much has to beat the other player. Each player has to beat the stage. It's almost like a competition, and even Cranky Kong mentions it at the end. Unless you're working as a team. But I would have preferred it if, in Donkey Kong, each player could do a stage and then the progress would count for both of the players. That to me is a lot more fun than competing against it and doing the same stage over and over again. Or trying to work together as a team. And what happens if the other person is not as good? Or they just want to bother you and by intentionally losing. Morton Koopa Jr. of Castle Number 2 is now just a memory. The next area is the underground Vanilla Dome. What traps await Mario in this new world? What will become of Princess Toadstool? I always thought they were killing Bowser's children or adopted children, whatever, here. But no, they keep showing up in the Mario games over and over again. No matter what Mario and Luigi do to them, they're always there. Alright, so we saved our progress. We haven't switched to the fall theme yet because we still have to do the special zone stages. We're gonna do those next time. Because now that we did Donut Land, I really want to switch it over to the fall theme. And it's easier to get those stages out of the way because a lot of them are really hard, so you don't want to be trying to do them later on. It's best to just get them out of the way. But they're also really cool and a lot of fun, so I look forward to doing them again. Yeah, I've lost count of the times I've played this game. I have to have beaten this game at least 50 times. At least. There's just no way it's less than that because I've played it too many times over the years for it to be anything less than like 50 or 60 or even more. I've lost count, but it's one of those games that never ages. It never feels dated. It never feels like it's, you know, out of place with other games or like, oh, this is so old, we don't really need it anymore. It's, you know, there are better and bigger games. Like, no, this game always feels timeless to me. Like you could just pick it up and play it at any time, any age, any point in your life, and it will feel, you know, fresh and enjoyable. You know, it doesn't age. It's just a perfect game, pretty much as close to a perfect as a game can possibly get. I think is this one. Like to me, it's even better than 3. A lot of people hold Super Mario Bros. 3 in high regard as the best Mario game ever made. I think it's actually this one. It's definitely not 64. It's definitely not Super Mario 64. That's one thing I know. Some people put that at the top. No. I've played that game and yes, it is good. It is very good. It is not the best Mario game ever made in my opinion. I think this is the best Mario game ever made in my opinion. And it even surpasses the 3D ones, which I know the 3D ones have their fans. There are fans, there are people who like Galaxy, there are people who like Odyssey. Although I haven't even finished half of that one, I gotta get back to it, but there are people who like Sunshine less than the others, but there are some. And I think Mario Wonder, or Super Mario Bros. Wonder, will actually end up attracting a huge fan base because of how unique it is with the Wonder Seeds and all the different effects that they do. But I think pound for pound, this is probably the best Mario game ever made. And we were doing some top 25 list of games of all time a couple weeks back on our Discord. You know, comparing each individual person's list and see what made it and what didn't. And like someone else pointed out, Super Mario World was the only Mario World. I mean, it was the only Mario game that appeared twice on any list. You know, none of the 3D Marios ever made it to anyone's top 25 list at all. Only two Mario Karts made it. I think Mario Kart 1 made it onto someone's list from the Super NES, and then Double Dash made it onto a few lists because that game is really good. It's probably peak Mario Kart, although people don't want to admit it. I remember IGN gave it like a 7.7 out of 10 and said it was okay but nothing special, and yet the fan base, from what I've seen, vastly prefers Double Dash to any other Mario Kart game that's come since, including Mario Kart Wii and 8. So that one showed up on a couple lists, but the only game for Mario that showed up on more than one list was Super Mario World. I think that shows the impact it's had on people, and it's still memorable even today. You know, kids back then in the early 90s had no idea how lucky they were getting it. You know, to get this game with the Super Nintendo as your first console, and this is the first video game you might ever have played. It was something special. So we are going to pick this up next time. Tomorrow I'm probably going to do Silent Hill 3 because I keep putting that off and I have to get it done before I get back to Spider-Man 2, or else we just keep going from different games and never get back to Silent Hill. Since we only have like 2 or 3 videos left, I want to get it done. Yeah, I think we have 3 left because there's the hospital, there's the amusement park, and then there's the church. So 3 videos. So I want to get back to it and finish that off so we can start Silent Hill 4. Which I've got to figure out how to work on the PC because I do not want to play it on the PS2. I want to play it on the PC, on my gaming laptop. Which is why I bought the thing in the first place, to play old retro games and old PS2 games and whatnot. So I got to figure out how to get that working because I heard the PC version has a lot of bugs and glitches. So got to figure out how to get that working, but I'm going to do that. And then this, we will pick it up next Thursday as we continue on for Throwback Thursday. So like I said, it'll probably be 3 parts. We did good progress here. We completely cleared 2 worlds. We did all the Star Road stages. Now we just gotta do the special zone. So when we come back next time, we're gonna go into this area here, which is Vanilla Dome. This is not one of my favorite areas in the game. It's kind of iffy. I don't really like most of the stages here. There's 1 or 2 decent ones, but this is not one of my favorite areas in the game. I just kind of like to rush through it and just beat the stages and move on. It's not very enjoyable for me compared to the other stages. Like, make no mistake, this game really has no bad stages. It just has ones that are pretty great, some that are decent, but then it has others that are quite a bit frustrating. Some of these here are a bit frustrating, but they're not too bad yet. But I don't know, for some reason I just don't really like this area. You know, it's one that I like to just skip ahead quickly and move on to the better, more interesting stages. Like, it's not the best level design in the game in my opinion, but it's still pretty cool in some aspects. There are some stages that have some tricky exits that you have to find, so you know, all in all, not bad, but definitely not my favorite area of the game. I think my favorite area of the game is probably by far Forest of Illusion. I think that's probably the pinnacle of creative game design in this game. That whole area with the different stages, and all of them have different exits, and you see a lot of stuff there you don't see anywhere else. So I think that's probably the best area in the game, Forest of Illusion. But we will pick this up next time, like I said, and thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy these playthroughs for Throwback Thursday. I see the Mega Man one is getting some views. Yeah, they are really old games, there's no way around it, but they're still classic, timeless games that feel just as good to play now as they were back then. So I look forward to playing more of them, and after I finish Mario, I might give a new one a try. Maybe we'll play Metroid or something. Or we might go over and play the original Donkey Kong Country, because I really like that game a lot. So I guess after we finish Mario World, which will probably take a few sessions, like I said, it'll probably take 2 more videos, but after we finish that, maybe we can do Donkey Kong Country 1 and get started on that series of games. So thank you for watching, and I will see you again next time on Throwback Thursday with Super Mario World. See you later.